That sounded like the right button.
Yeah, right? Yeah, everyone else presses all the buttons all the time. I just show up and look pretty.
Well, you show up at any rate.
Ah, daggers! I don't like looking at myself in that capacity, sir.
Oh, yeah.
That's what you said, right? That you wanted to go second. Or did you want to go first?
I want to go second on the recap. Is that
Great.
chill? All right.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? I'm Max.
I'm Nick.
And we are part of PeakD&D, and this is the Talking Phase, our talkback episode for Luke Hart of the DM Layers into the FEY module that he was so graciously allowed us to debut to the world, which is pretty rad if you think about it.
Yeah, totally. We're also recapping the module for you. It's not for Luke. It's for.
Oh, but Luke, you can watch too. And so we're going to start with the recap that we do of this session, the train wreck recap. Although one thing I have noticed is that you seem to be a calming presence in these things, because like Lord knows when Tony and I do it, it is a disaster.
I suppose we'll find out.
Okay.
Right now. Recap.
All right. Good old Gibbon down when the meat is free. And we go down to the next part of the dungeon where we had to go through the portal to the FEY. And we get there and we find the creepy jester and Gorman, fourth party member. Much love, MVP of the session, no doubt. Manages to put the jester to sleep, which is awesome, and we don't have to fight the other gray people. Still not sure why they're gray, weird, but we decide to walk through and get to the swamp, and we find the swamp, and we're kind of just wandering around in the
Time. So we're wandering around in the swamp, right? And Ben summons these totally trustworthy frogs who take him to the frog witch, give him a shortcut through a lizard man-infested mangaroon. You guys managed to not fight them. You jumped into the water and wound up at this crazy frog witch palace, and the crazy frog witch wants to talk. What? So you guys talked to her for a while, and you guys stepped down on more or less civil terms.
Do you see what I mean? That, like I said, as calm as it gets, man. Not that I know how to use this thing. Okay, cool.
All right, yeah. So yeah, what did you think of your adventures in the Feywild this time?
I am super curious as to what's going to happen next, and I'm really glad that it's you and me on here because arguably you and I have the least amount of conflict in what's about to happen because I don't serve any other master in the game, but like both Ben and Tony have FEY attachments. And what you said with Ethel, was that the...
Yes, Ethel Driftwood Wormwiggle.
That's a fantastic mouthful of a name. There are a lot of things came out. I mean, Ben's, Puck may have some thoughts on things. Oberon may have some thoughts on things about how they want this situation to go. And
they might indeed have thoughts about it.
And then their vassals, in turn, may have their own thoughts on how things want to go. So that's where I am most curious. And like thinking about, Illensworth has no love for the town of Aeredale and the leadership that be. Yeah. So like...
It's interesting that you and Ben's father kind of ended up in the same place re the whole thing. It's like, all right, well, what are the taxes that the Queen Below charges on wagon? It's not like Aeredale is run by the best and brightest of people in the Forgotten Realms. She told just enough truth and bargained in just enough good faith to make things complicated now. Maybe that's what she wanted all along.
I'm really curious about that veiled comment she made about having all the children of Aeredale. Because, I am chaotic good. And, saving the children sounds like a very good thing to do.
Sounds suitably heroic.
And so I'm really on team, get the eggs back to the lizard folks, get all the kids back to their respective parents.
Ideally, we should return the kidnapped children. Yeah,
but then, I'm really hoping we can get a little clarification from the Fey folk while we're in the Feywild about what they need, and then go back and try to investigate this kids thing because... if we, extrapolating out, so say we go against Ethel, and then I mean, do we, like, the kids? What happens to the kid? What about the children, man? What about the children? I certainly went home with a whole bunch of ideas about ways this could go.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, like, they all they had to do was make a candy that let you do some low-level magic, and suddenly the kids are all about this new weird, like, bunch of people coming in town with candy.
Was the first one free?
Oh, totally.
Of course it was.
Several of the subsequent ones as well. Yeah, I've been dropping hints about that for a little while, and now it's finally, like, come up where that candy's coming from.
I mean, I confess, I never thought it was children from the Prime. I always thought it was, like, fey creatures impersonating children, so... But
Not unreasonable an assumption, but nope, it's totally the kids.
Yeah, that complicates matters for me.
What is the good thing to do?
Save people. That's the most good thing to do, right? I think.
One would assume.
Did we do anything that surprised you last session?
Honestly, the whole wandering through the swamp thing was supposed to take like upwards of 15 hours. So you guys thinking of summoning frogs with the animal summoning trinket and then talking to them with the animal talking to trinket actually did bypass a fair bit of the danger there.
Sweet.
Yeah, that was a little bit surprising, but I rolled with it. The frogs knew a shortcut.
Yeah, no. I mean, you always are good about that. I was just curious. Because, you know, we have things like the conversation surprise to us as players.
Right.
So I'm always just intrigued if there's things that we do.
I had a few carrots and a few sticks, and I could get a pretty good read on which ones were working at any given moment.
Sure. When it comes to our group, the carrot or the stick?
Mostly the carrot, to be
Okay.
frank.
Yeah.
Hey, adventure that way, and you guys tend to hop to it.
Ben wants us to talk about the verbal boss fight.
Yes, thank you, Ben. So yeah, the idea that I had with Ethel, what I wanted to do with her, is something that I've wanted to do for a while since a video game I liked did it. But it is to take what is, for all intents and purposes, a boss battle and make it a conversation. Like that, sitting around the table and talking to this person is the boss battle, with as much challenge as, like, you know, hitting something really hard.
Awesome, man.
You know, it's a thing that Knights of the Old Republic does. I think you know, if you know that game.
Which
nerd cred?
The first one or the second one?
I was thinking the second one.
Okay.
Do you this join us on
Hey,
talking KOTOR.
Yeah.
No, in KOTOR 2, there's the lady Atris, who you run into at the polar ice cap on the symbolism planet. That whole like confrontation with her, it was very much like that's where the game would have put a boss fight if it weren't as confident in its dialogue and in its writing.
Yeah.
And that's something that I found super interesting.
Yeah.
And I've kind of always wanted to try it.
Nice.
So it did, and hopefully you had fun with it.
Oh no, I think we did too. Like you could tell, like it'll be fun to watch the footage. But
Yeah, you can always kill her next week if you did.
So, obviously, we could try. So then, to that point, how much of that conversation did you have scripted versus plot points versus?
So I find when it comes to like big conversations with NPCs, planning is indispensable. But plans are useless. It will never, if you try to make a conversation go in the direction that you envisioned or that you had charted out, it typically won't, because human beings are more complicated than that. But I had a list of bullet points.
Okay.
It's like, here's a carrot for Ben, here's a stick for Max. Here's something I know Max will agree with if I say out loud.
Sure.
You know, and just from there you can kind of like weave it together based on what you're getting.
Sure.
Because like negotiations don't like work like that in real life either. Like no plan survives contact with the enemy.
Right.
So you've just got to roll with it and figure out which way the table's going and speak to that. Which is what she did. I decided that she was pretty good at this negotiation thing, and hopefully that all worked.
And Tony wants us to give another shout out to Gorman, who did his little like fey cat dragon sticker.
Okay, now that's just dumb. Okay, this little son of a bitch. Now when Gord
to be fair, he's mostly sick, so this is like his first healthy day.
Yeah, right. So it just turns out he's very good at it. Now I can live with it when the badass dwarven paladin with the giant hammer kills my dude. But when this guy, just a freaking cat-sized dragon, just curls up on his shoulder and be like, oh, hello, stab. And he fails a saving throw and falls unconscious for 3 days.
I mean, you are the master of dungeons.
Of course.
You could have easily lied and made him make that save without any of us knowing. So what made you...
So I'm not gonna tell you that I never cheat because I'd be lying. But I don't cheat people out of their wins by and large. That's something about that doesn't really sit right with me.
Okay.
And moreover, when I do cheat, it is for story reasons and not petty, this monster really should have fucked you up more kind of reasons.
Right.
There's no reason to like mess with stuff for that. That's not fun.
Well, I appreciate that peek behind the screens, as it were.
All good.
Yeah.
One of the advantages of tuning in to Talking FEY. That's so lame. I'm terrible at this YouTube thing. Yeah, smash that like button.
Tony's gonna cut this to hell.
Cut the dumb shit I said, please, Tony. Talking FEY!
Whoa, FEY Watch!
Join us for more Talking FEY. What's the upload date? Every other Wednesday on PeakD&D. Check us out right here. Remember to dispel the wards around the notification bell so that you know when we are posting stuff. And check out the stuff we post. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, and thanks.
Thank you for coming.